So we'll begin our review of the day. This is the close of play of the third day of the first test between England and India at Trent Bridge. England close on 25 for no wicket, again closing prematurely. Lots of interruptions today, disappointing day weather-wise. They are still 70 runs behind. Rory Burns and Dom Sibley survived 11 overs, but it was India's day really. They scored 278 in their first innings, giving them a lead of 95. A lot of shot playing towards the end. KL Rahul holding the innings together. He was dropped twice, and England's fielding, got to say, we'll talk about it in a moment, pretty poor. 3 drop catches, I reckon, and up to 5 run-out opportunities, depending on how harsh you're being. But Rahul eventually was caught by Butler off Anderson for 84 from 214 balls. Jadeja introduced some pace to the innings, if you like, off the punt, made 25. Jadeja 56 from 86 balls. Thakur a duck. Shami slogged 13, but then a highly entertaining last wicket stand of 33 between Bumrah, whose average in Test cricket is 2, and previous high score 11. He made 28, and he hit Sam Curran for a 6. Mohammad Siraj on 7 not out. So 278, pushing that lead on to, well, certainly beyond something that England might feel comfortable about. Anderson 5 for 54, but Ollie Robinson finished with 5 for 85, his first 5-wicket haul in Test cricket, and I don't think it'll be his last. So Michael Vaughan's alongside me. I suppose, well, you could say the rain is helping England to an extent at the moment, Michael.
Yeah, it certainly has helped them this afternoon. It may help them on Saturday, but if actually you look at the grand scheme of things, we may get to Sunday with very little play between now and then, and only one team can really win then. You know, you can't imagine that England will be able to bat and get enough runs to then get the 10 wickets to beat India on Sunday. If England can get away with anything this week, I think they'll be absolutely delighted, because so far India have been better. They bowled better, they've batted better, they've fielded better. England have tried, and I thought today in the field there was a few strange tactics, there was a few strange bowling kind of decisions, but you know, the entertainment factor of what Test cricket is always about the players. And you know, Rishabh Pant strolling out there and getting 25, playing a few great shots, and then you know, Jadeja playing in the way that he played, KL Rahul playing in a real technical way, Bumrah getting that 20-odd towards the back end. The ball was flying to all parts. Field was spread all the way around the outfield. So it's been entertaining, but England are up against it. I think India will be looking at the fork and think, can they get one session tomorrow? I think they'll be delighted if they do.
Well, they at least got through those 11 overs. I mean, there's a lot of crossed fingers going on, and Sibley and Burns walked out to bat, but at least they got through that dodgy period. Yeah,
they played nicely. For whatever reason, I think it's happened throughout the 3 days that there's been periods when the ball has done plenty, and then there's been the odd spell where it's done nothing, and that new ball didn't do a great deal. It wasn't zipping through, and Rory Burns and Dom Sibley played with good defence, left the ball nicely, and we know how strong they are on the pads. And you know, when you're chasing wickets and you can see the clouds rolling in, you do as a bowler go for the glory, and probably gave them a few to clip away on that onside. And to be naught down is huge, because even when you're on a pitch that's not doing a great deal, when you're under a huge amount of pressure for the game, and also you're placing the side, you can find funny ways of getting out. So I think Joe Root will be delighted that there are no wickets down.
Yeah. So Ollie Robinson, I mean, he bowled so well at Lord's in his first Test match. He, of course, was suspended after that, and now back he comes. It's 5 for 85 from 26.5 overs, and he just looks the part, doesn't he? And often you see new cricketers come out and they make that transition between county level and Test level. Can they do it? How are they comfortable doing it, and so on? And he just looks as if he does belong in playing at this level. He doesn't seem to be phased in the least.
Yeah, I think the best kind of praise I can give him is that it looks to me like Broad and Anderson already talk to him as if he's just one of them. You know, one of that like bowling group. He's only in his second game. I know he spent a bit of time in the bubble, so they're a group that are probably quite close, but you can just tell from the way that Anderson's at mid-off, he's talking to someone that he has respect for already in terms of the way that he bowls.
He was preferred to Broad, actually almost throughout the game, wasn't he? Not in the first innings opening the bowling-wise, but other times throughout. Root's gone to Robinson first.
Well, on his Test debut at Lord's, I mean, obviously the circumstance around that tweet was all the noise about Ollie Robinson, but he actually bowled better than Broad and Anderson in that Test match at Lord's. And you know, I think both he and Jimmy Anderson have been the picks for England. You know, I don't think one has been better than the other. I think both of them have been absolutely outstanding. And in Ollie Robinson, when you look at, you know, Jofra Archer, his situation. Chris Woakes with his heel. I'm sure he'll come back in for this season. You've got Ben Stokes. We're not too sure when we're going to see Ben. Ollie Stone is out injured.
Yep.
Someone like Ollie Robinson with his height and his repetitive action. Some have called him, a bit like Gus Fraser. I think he looks more like Josh Hazlewood. I really do think he's got that tall kind of presence. He makes bowling look very, very easy, whether he's bowling to right hand, left hand. He seems to be able to hold his length, hold his line. He's got the skill to be able to go either way. He looks like he's going to be around for quite a while.
Yeah, and do you see him being effective in Australia?
Well, those kind of bowlers generally are. Those that can come over the top and hit the pitch and get a bit of bounce and can bowl with great consistency. Obviously, you need to do that on the better wickets of Australia when the Kookaburra ball's not doing quite as much as the Duke ball in English conditions. I can already visualise him charging in at the Gabba. On a second or third day when the pitch gets a bit harder and he's getting the ball carrying through to the keeper. And obviously can bat a bit as well, which is always an added bonus for a bowler to be able to bat like he can. As I said, there's not many bowlers in our time that has come into Test match cricket and made it look so easy right from the get-go.
Looking from a very long way away, I've got a feeling that we might be able to hear from Ollie Robinson in a moment. He's out to doing some interviews at the moment, so hopefully we'll hear from him shortly. A rather happier interview than the one that he had to give at Lord's. He's with Simon Mann.
It's been a pretty hectic one, to say the least. It's obviously a tough week at Lord's for myself, and to get the rewards today with a fifer have sort of gone the other end of the spectrum. So it's been an interesting start to international cricket.
How have you dealt with it over the last few weeks?
It's been tough. It's been tough for me and my family and friends even as well. There's been a lot of scrutiny, and I've just tried to stay close to them and work through it as hard as possible.
What have you done since your suspension to deal with the issues that caused it?
So I've done a social media course so far, and over the next 12 months I've got a lot of sort of commitments coming up and a few more courses to try and develop myself and improve myself as a person. I'm going to be working closely with the PCA and doing some rookie camps to make sure people don't make the same mistakes I did.
Yeah. On the field, are you almost surprised yourself at how well it's gone?
I wouldn't say so. I've sort of felt like I could be good at this level for a couple of years, and I've just had to be patient and wait for my chance. It's obviously nice to get the rewards today, and hopefully there'll be many more to come.
What was it like coming back to Test cricket after the break without a great deal of red ball cricket out in the middle?
Yeah, I think all four of us as bowlers felt a little bit rusty, maybe first sort of session we bowled. And then I think yesterday and today we bowled a lot better. We've hit the lines and lengths that we were looking for, but it is tough to not have red ball cricket before a big Test series like this.
The camera focused on you when you picked up that fifth wicket. You obviously knew what you'd achieved. What was that moment like?
Just raw emotion, really. It was a feeling that I've not experienced so far. The crowd here were amazing, and to walk off holding the ball, saluting it all to the crowd, it was just an amazing feeling.
What's your Test cricket goal?
It's to win series for England and play for England for as long as possible. I look at Brody and Jimmy with 150 games, whatever they've got notched up, and think that's where I want to be. So that's my goal.
Which wicket pleased you most?
Rohit pleased me quite a lot. We obviously were struggling, needed a breakthrough, and just got it on the stroke of lunch, and I felt like it gave us as a unit a bit of momentum after lunch. So I think that was probably my most enjoyable.
And what about the state of the game? I mean, there's been some weather around. How do you see it from here?
We just need to bat well, bat long, bat well, and keep ourselves in the game for as long as possible. If we can get a lead of 200, 250 on that wicket, you never know. So we've just got to keep ourselves in the game for as long as possible.
Well bowled today. Thanks very much for your time. Thank you.
Ollie Robinson with Simon Mann. Understated confidence, I'd say there. He felt he's been good enough to play for a couple of years. He's got his goals sorted out.
Well, and also, I like a young player that comes into the international game and he's not looking at anything but the best. He's looking at Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad, and you mentioned 150 caps, and he fancies getting quite close to that. It's a good step. I like confidence. I like the way he was quite cheeky about bowling at Kane Williamson in that first Test match that he played, where he said, I'll just bowl a few outside off and then I'll nick one back. I mean, you have to have belief in yourself to play at this level and to go out there in front of the masses and produce the goods. And by speaking out, someone says, he's put himself under pressure. I think he likes it. He enjoys it.
You might have some hard work in Australia. I mean, if you saw Mark Wood coming back from having a net today with the bat rather than with the ball, I mean, how do you think they're going to treat him? There's 4 test matches after this. He's obviously not playing in this one. But with Archer out now and with Stone out now, I mean, suddenly Wood's position looks vital. And I mean, can he seriously play all 5 Ashes tests? Probably not. Perhaps he wouldn't play in the day-nighter at Adelaide. But it's going to be needed in other games. What would you do if you were sitting in that down end now, and then you're doing your planning for?
I think you've got to reevaluate where you're at as a team. When you lose so many quick bowlers, I think the team have got to realise that the way that they're going to win in Australia now, I don't think England have got a bowling attack that will blow Australia away. I really don't think they've got that. I don't think you're going to suddenly see Australia 150 all out. I think England have got to realise that, and I'm sure they are thinking of this. They have to bat with great depth, so they have to pack the batting. The Ollie Robinsons, Chris Woakes down at like 8 and 9, really pack the batting. Hope the top order fires and finds form and confidence, but they're going to have to get big runs. They're going to have to get the 400 pluses, and I think if they do that, the likes of Robinson, Broad, Anderson, Chris Woakes, Mark Wood on the right kind of weak, they'll need a spinner. You do need your spinner, and left-arm spinners have had success. You look at Maharaj for South Africa a few years ago, they had success in Australia. So I think Jack Leach will be important, but it'll be runs. They need a lot of runs with the attack that they're going to take, because they're just not going to blow Australia away. It's going to be workmanlike, bowling for dots, bowling for patience, and trying to wear the Australians down by looking at a scoreboard and seeing quite a big number before they go out to bat.
I was just looking at the way that the Indian tail batted today, and it's not a strong tail by any means. But they did play some shots because there wasn't the pace winging around.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't help thinking Pat Cummins and Lyon and co down there who
happened before,
who
hasn't
can
it?
play. I mean, it's vital that there's somebody to whistle the ball around the tail ender's ears.
Yeah, Mitchell Stark, those kind of players.
Yeah.
James Pattinson, Josh Hazlewood's
all
hung
bat.
around, Nathan Lyon. They can all, hold an end if a Steve Smith's in, or one of that middle order, Labuschagne, and that's going to be the England skill set, the England management and the team trying to understand how they're going to put a little bit of fear into that lower order. Brad Haddon pretty much won the Ashes series. I can't remember, was it the last one or the one before, where he came in at number 7. England generally had them 150 for 5, and they didn't have any firepower to clear out the tail, and it was Brad Haddon that would shepherd the tail and get them to that competitive score, and England didn't have too many answers. And first and foremost, we have to see this team in this series, and they have to win games in this series to give themselves a belief and confidence, because you're not going to go to Australia and win if you're not going to win in your own backyard first with the Duke ball, because we know with the Duke ball it will move around. This England attack will get movement, and that's where they've been absolutely brilliant for years. The likes of Broad and Anderson, and now Ollie Robinson, similar type of bowler, get movement off a length. That won't happen in Australia. So if England aren't going to win games with that attack in English conditions, they certainly won't be doing so in Australia.
And it's a last quick thought about the fielding. I mentioned 3 drop catches, run out opportunities. It's a bit of a barometer of how a team is playing overall in the field.
Well, yeah, generally. I mean, it's because minds are maybe thinking of other things, maybe thinking of their own performances, maybe thinking about going out to bat again rather than actually just being in that moment in the field. I used to drop loads of catches, and a lot of the time was because I was thinking of other things. I was thinking about captaincy manoeuvres, or thinking about when I was going to bat. It's so important that you just try and stay in the here and now. When you're out there in the middle, it's dead easy to say it up here, but teams that operate as one, and you can see it's a well-oiled unit when they do so, they are very, very good at just concentrating on the here and now. Batting, fielding, bowling's pretty good, but batting and fielding are quite important in Test match cricket. At the minute, I'm afraid those 2 disciplines are letting England down.
Thank you, Michael, very much indeed. Let's bring in Deep Dasgupta, shall we, who's been watching this today. And Deep, the weather's disappointing, isn't it? But India still has that lead of 70.
But I think it just came at the right time for India, because both Rory and Dom Sibley were looking dangerous, good partnership. They were looking comfortable. They were getting into a momentum there. I think as far as the rain is concerned, it's come at the right time, just giving India the break and the time to regroup and come back tomorrow and come hard.
Yeah, it just seemed the ball didn't seem to swing very much actually in that session. We're all ready for Bumrah and Shami and for the ball to be wobbling about. But it just shows, doesn't it? Sometimes a bit of chill in the wind, which was actually blowing quite strong today. It didn't look quite so dangerous.
Yeah, and also credit to both Sibley and Rory Burns. I thought they looked very, very comfortable. One of the things which maybe could have done differently, especially Mohammad Shami, is, I mean, this is something that we see very, very often nowadays. Straight away, you see a left-hand batter and you go around the wicket. It's fine for certain kind of bowlers, but someone like Mohammad Shami who gets close to the stump and bowls really straight lines, I don't understand that. I mean, I would prefer someone like him to come over the wicket. I mean, plan A should be over the wicket. And if it doesn't work, fair enough. Plan B could be round. But I've seen a lot of modern day bowlers, as soon as they see a left-hander, they go around the wicket.
Now, I know someone who'll be watching the highlights tonight. Deep, that's going to be Jasprit Bumrah. Average of 2. He scored 28. His highest previous score was 11. And he hit a 6. I mean, he's going to be watching those TV highlights tonight.
Absolutely, and those 30-odd runs, that in partnership of 30-odd runs last wicket, so crucial in a low-scoring game, and also the way he batted, and he showed grit. That's what I want to see. I mean, we all know. I mean, his obviously his batting skills aren't that great, but what I really would want to see more from someone like Shami or Bumrah or even Mohammad Siraj is the grit to just hang in there. Just hang in there. You never know. You get an outside edge or a thickish inside edge. You know, as long as you're out there on the crease, you will get some runs. And that's exactly what happened today. Whether it was Shami initially and then Bumrah, just hang in there, and they show that grit, that tenacity. Just hang in there and get some useful runs for the team.
Yeah, and just briefly, Ravi Jadeja, again, just a reminder of what he brings. 56 from 86 balls. He just added the little bit of oomph there when it was needed.
Yeah, and again, India has that kind of lead to a great extent because of that innings, and that innings was obviously of two halves. The first part, when he was so technically correct, he was watchful when he was batting with KL Rahul, and then when KL Rahul and then Shardul Thakur got out, we saw the other side of Ravi Jadeja. The guy who can play his strokes and plays more freely. And again, he's such a changed batter in the last couple of years, and the reason, and today again was a great example of why he's there in that playing 11.